What's good, guys? Welcome to another philosophy vlog. Thanks for the response for the last one, that was really cool. I appreciate it. So I thought I'd make another one because I've been ill for sort of last month, giving me a lot of time to think. And I just wanted to share this new idea that I've kind of been thinking about, not preaching, just sharing my idea. Hope you can listen to it and maybe think about it and just be open about it. I'm not saying it's right, it's just how I'm expressing myself. So let's do it. So I've been thinking a lot about what actually makes you happy or happy. I mean, for me, when you're happy, you're at peace, you kind of settled, and that means you can be the child that you always were, really. And most children are happy a lot of the time, but when we grow up and become adults, the fun seems to be knocked out of a lot of things. I'm not saying that's your fault, I think it's the system's fault, but that's another debate. I was kind of thinking that when you are at peace or when you're happy, it's when the things that are in your mind are in reality. So it's bringing your mind things into matter things. So you can be at peace when you feel like you're doing what you want to do, or you're feeling that what you plan to do is happening. That way you're kind of in balance. You're in balance with the sort of creation part and the real part, the reality of what's actually happening. So say if you're trapped somewhere, your mind wants you to be free because you want to get away from the discomfort of being trapped, and you want the pleasant feeling of being free. So in this way, you find that peace when you become free, because what's happening in your mind and what's happening in reality is on the same level, it's the same frequency or the same vibration. So in that way, you'd be more at peace when you are free from that trapped situation. On the other hand though, when you bring in things, or you take in things, or you receive things, that's also a way of your mind being at the same frequency as reality. Say for example you really want a new watch and your partner buys it for you, then you feel at peace or you feel happy because they've balanced out. So what you want is happening in reality at the same level. So on this scale we kind of have two opposites. We have internal outputs and external inputs, or in other words, creation and reception. Now, creation and reception are happening all the time, every day, and through the choices you make, you are tipping the balance in different ways. So some days you may be more on the creation side, and some days you may be more on the receiving side. But what decides which end you're tipped on? Well, it depends what you prioritise. So the things that you prioritise are going to be put into reality if they really need to be, and to do that you create, or you force reception, so you force that thing to come into your life. So let's go over creation. Well, creation really is creating the uncreated. So it's putting what's in here into reality. It's a transformation of the spiritual, if you want to call it spiritual, into the real, into the material, into the world. So it's a way of fusing with the environment. There's so many things you can do to be creative and find happiness or find peace through that creation process. These can be things like, I've got a little list here, things like cooking, building, singing, writing, video making, poetry, painting, drawing, dancing, playing games, giving. These are creative forces. These are things that you desire in your mind to happen, and then they do happen because you push that creative process into effect. You bring what's in your mind into reality, and that way what your mind things are and what the matter things are kind of on the same frequency, on the same vibration. On the other hand, external inputs or reception is the other side of the spectrum, and it is receiving the created. So there's already all these creative things out there, and it's receiving them into yourself for various different reasons. Obviously, the three main things that we have to receive to stay alive are food and water from the earth, and air, oxygen from the sky, from the atmosphere. But there are a number of other ways of receiving, and we do these all the time. I'll just go through my list again, which I just dropped. You can decide what you want about them, but some ways of receiving are reading. So reading is a way of taking in. Music, another way of taking in through the senses. Then we have things like alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, and other drugs, you know, cocaine, marijuana, things like that. We have TV, laptop stimulation. We have shopping, so buying material goods, buying items, asking for or demanding things, or making people do things for you. That is a way of receiving. So as you can see, it's very different from the creation side, because instead of giving out, you're taking in. But as I said before, they're both a way of getting the frequencies on the same level. So you've got to ask yourself, which way do you tip the balance? Do you tip it more in favour of creation, putting what your mind thinks and what your desires and dreams are, do you put that into reality? Or do you tip the balance in favour of reception, receiving things? Do you like to bring things into your life, or bring things into your body to feel a certain way, or to bring you that satisfaction? I think it's really important to think about which way it's tipped, because knowing this will sort of make you reflect on your habits. So you could be an avid shopper, which means you're more the reception side, or you could be an avid, you know, giver. You could love making presents for people. You could love building things. You could love singing, and or all these different creative things. So obviously both are a part of life, and that's important to recognise. But for me, the creation side is the underrated and more needed side that should be tipped in favour of, because by doing this you're fusing with the environment in a way that's giving, and you can't be greedy in that sense. On the other side, sorry, it's an easy route to greed, because you're constantly trying to fulfill or satisfy your desires with intake. You want things in, and that can lead to addiction, it can lead to self-harm. I don't just mean cutting your wrists, I mean knowing that something that you do or you intake is bad for you. That is self-harm. That's knowing that you shouldn't be doing it, but you're doing it anyway, which is the problem with drugs, and the problem with the TV stimulation and addiction, the problem with laptop stimulation and addiction. It's the problem with shopping as well. It's the addiction and it's the greed. So in my opinion, I think that in this case, life shouldn't be about balance. It should be about tipping in favour of creation, because in that way we are giving, which is on a good frequency. It's on a loving frequency to the world. It's a way of being more harmonious with the world, and for me makes me happier and more peaceful person. So it's just my opinion. I've kind of analysed it quite a lot. I don't really like analytical sort of philosophy, but it's a good way for me to express it. So hope you enjoyed that. You can think what you want. You're free to do what you want. And I hopefully have some parkour stuff out soon I've been working on, because I haven't really released much in a while. So stay tuned for more from the Acceleration Project, and have a great day. Go and create, go and make someone happy and make yourself happy.